You are listening to the O'Brien and Bolt podcast. We're going to check in once again with therapist Dr. Mooti Lederhosen on the occasion of Sigmund Freud's birthday. He was born on May 6th back in 18...
Why was he born so beautiful? Why was he born at all? Yes, he was born this day in history, not over 100 years ago.
Now, we know a lot about Sigmund Freud, about him as a therapist, a psychotherapist, and his work in psychology. But what about the early days? What was his life like when he was a young boy?
Oh, he was born, he lived in Vienna. They moved there when they were 4 years old. His father and mother, they was... his father was a Hasidic Jewish man, but didn't really keep up the practice too much, too constraining, and it was also I think he was made carpeting, made rugs or work with them because they don't cut their head. His sideburns kept getting caught in the weave or in the loom, but that's. I don't think that affected Freud too much later in life. His basic principles, they say he's the father or forefather of modern psychoanalysis. And in relation to the id, which is basically the spirit in one's ego, oh, I'm better than you are, you're not so hot, Mr. Big Shot, maybe you're a pretty good-looking woman, but my hair is prettier than yours,
Right.
Lot of ego.
Yes.
Stuff around the ego, thinking, mostly it's all a big defense mechanism when you don't want people to know the secret about yourself that you're concealing, because really basically deep down inside we're all just little babies. We want our mommy and our daddy, and we want to be hugged and cuddled, and squeezed a little bit, and,
Uh-huh. I'm still a little unclear about your credentials, but in your estimation...
Well, I was at the Carl Jung Institute in Zurich, Switzerland for 6 months, and that was where I first became familiarized with Carl Jung, and he was a student of Sigmund Freud, and that was in just outside of Zurich in a little town called Kuznok, is the Carl Jung Institute, and there I stayed there for quite a while.
So you studied at the Carl Jung Institute?
No, I didn't... I was a patient.
Well, since you're here, in your opinion, how do Freud's theories hold up today?
One of his theories, which is to do a bunch of cocaine and smoke cigars, that theory didn't work out too well. They say he smoked maybe 20 cigars a day, and of course that's what finally killed him when he went to England, because he had to escape the Nazis and the alternative right, or whatever they're called today. But he went to England, and that's where he died of mouth and throat cancer, But he was, so those theories didn't hold up. But, talking about your problems is still very much important part of everyday living, whether it be in the lunchroom with your friends, and having lunch, or your wife or your children. Lots of people have dogs and cats. They talk to them. Hello, good boy. Hello, kitty. Mm-hmm. Meow, and sometimes even imitate the way the animals talk. Meow, meow. But a lot of way to work through your problems is to talk about them, and a lot of the problems that we have are stemmed from problems that happened when we were small children. Maybe we were beaten up on the way to school, taking our lunch money away from us, or maybe we didn't go to the prom. Maybe we were too afraid to ask the girl we wanted to take, or
sure.
Hello?
No, I'm just agreeing. That could scar you for life.
What have you heard?
I'm just saying, in general, if somebody was turned down for the prom...
Well, that's what I mean.
Right. Exactly.
A lot of people, they develop defense mechanisms that they carry with them throughout their life. A lot of people use this... they don't like to answer questions,
Right. Before we go, I have to ask about the couch. Was Sigmund Freud the one responsible for the couch in psychotherapy?
Well, he was so busy that he used to have to audition his patients. So As a matter of fact, they adopted that idea, and it's still very much alive today in Hollywood.
Well, it doesn't sound right.
The casting couch there, but he would have his patient. They say, okay, so run through a couple of your problems real quick so I can check them off. And he had a little checklist there. Desires to have relationships with his mother, wants to kill his father, or for the girl, wants to kill her mother and wants to marry her father. And, too much time. Sucking thumb into the teen years was a kind of a clue that maybe something, might be a little bit awry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's getting close to lunch, and I was just going to order. I was looking at the menu for the deli when you called.
Any final thoughts on Sigmund Freud?
Well, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be anywhere near as aware of all the problems we don't have and should have. And just how unhappy we can be, which is, I'm not sure that's a good thing, but there's a lot of things we don't know about ourselves that we should be worrying about. And that's our job, is to try to discover them.
Thank you for being on the show, Dr. Mooti Lederhosen.
Who do I invoice for this?
I'm afraid we'll try to send you some kind of a gift, but I don't think
sure.
It's not on the budget. Dr. Mooti
Great.
Lederhosen,
Fine.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show. You've been listening to O'Brien and Bolt, the podcast. I'm Michael O'Brien.
And I'm Geoff Bolt.
And our job is to entertain
as well as inform.
If you like what you heard today, please give us a big thumbs up on your source for
all your podcasts.
And you can find us on Facebook at O'Brien and Bolt. Thanks.